Korah, around 1446 BCE, in the wilderness of Sinai. He was a Levite who challenged Moses' authority. He gathered 250 leaders and confronted Moses publicly, claiming he had taken too much power. Moses told everyone to step back from Korah's tent. He said, "If these men die naturally, God hasn't sent me. But if the ground opens and swallows them alive, you'll know they've rejected the Lord." The moment he finished speaking, the earth split open beneath them. The ground opened like a mouth. Korah, his followers, their families, everything dropped into the fissure. The text is specific. They went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them. Then fire came from the Lord and consumed the 250 men holding censers. They were incinerated where they stood. The ground where Korah's tents had been was smooth, as if nothing had ever existed there. Absalom, around 990 BCE, in the forests of Ephraim, during the civil war for Israel's throne. He was the son of King David, known across the ancient world for his appearance. Historical records describe his hair in unusual detail. It was long, thick, and he cut it only once a year because of its weight. On the day of the battle, he rode a mule beneath the thick branches of a great oak tree. His hair caught in the branches. The mule kept moving. Absalom was left hanging in midair, suspended by his own hair. He didn't die from the fall. He hung there, alive, struggling to free himself. His neck wasn't broken. The weight of his body pulled against his scalp, but it held. He was conscious when Joab, his father's commander, arrived. Ancient texts are specific about what happened next. Joab took 3 javelins and thrust them into Absalom's chest while he was still alive in the tree. The record states it clearly. He was alive when the blades went in. The pain would have been immediate and overwhelming, but death from pierced organs takes time. He hung there, impaled, bleeding, until 10 of Joab's armor-bearers surrounded him and finished the execution. His body was thrown into a pit and covered with stones. King David, his father, wept when he heard the news. Sodom and Gomorrah. Around 1900 BCE, in the valley near the Dead Sea, 2 cities known for corruption and violence, 2 messengers came to warn Lot. They told him to take his family and run. Don't look back. Don't stop. As the sun rose, the Lord rained burning sulfur on both cities. Everything ignited in moments. The heat was so intense that smoke rose like a furnace. Lot's wife turned to look back. The moment she looked, she became a pillar of salt. Not gradually, instantly. Her body transformed mid-step. Lot and his daughters kept running. When Abraham looked toward the valley the next morning, he saw dense smoke. The cities were gone. Only ash and salt remained. Ananias and Sapphira, around 33 CE in Jerusalem, a married couple in the early church. They sold land but kept back part of the money, while claiming they gave the full amount. Peter asked Ananias directly, "Why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit? You didn't have to sell the land. The money was yours. But you lied to God." The moment Peter finished speaking, Ananias collapsed. He fell and died. No warning, no visible cause. Young men wrapped his body and buried him. 3 hours later, Sapphira came in. She didn't know what happened. Peter asked if the amount they gave was the full price. She said yes. Peter responded, "How could you test the Spirit of the Lord? The men who buried your husband are at the door." She dropped dead at his feet, instantly. The same men carried her out and buried her next to Ananias. Great fear seized the whole church. The Egyptian army. Around 1446 BCE at the Red Sea. Pharaoh changed his mind after letting Israel go. He assembled 600 of his best chariots, plus all the other chariots of Egypt, and pursued them. The Israelites were trapped. Sea in front, desert on the sides, army behind. Moses stretched out his hand. All night, wind drove the sea back. The water stood up like walls. Israel walked through on dry ground. The Egyptians followed. Every chariot, every horse, every soldier entered between the walls of water. At dawn, the Lord threw the army into confusion. Chariot wheels came off. Soldiers shouted to retreat. Moses stretched his hand over the sea again. The walls collapsed. Water rushed back with full force onto the chariots and horsemen. Not one survived. The water covered them completely. By morning, Israelites saw Egyptian bodies washed on the shore. The most powerful military in the world had been erased in minutes. Nadab and Abihu, around 1445 BCE at the tabernacle, sons of Aaron the high priest. They were consecrated, dressed in sacred garments, given specific instructions. They took their censers, put fire in them, added incense, and offered it before the Lord. But the fire was unauthorized, not commanded by God. Fire came out from the Lord's presence and consumed them. Not the incense, not the censers, them. They died right there in front of the sanctuary, still in their priestly robes. Moses told Aaron this was what the Lord meant when he said, "Among those who approach me, I will be proved holy." Aaron said nothing. He was forbidden to mourn. His sons were dead at his feet, but he had to remain consecrated. Their cousins carried the bodies out of the camp. The Lord spoke to Aaron directly. "You and your sons must never drink wine when you enter the tent of meeting, or you will die." The implication was clear. Intoxication may have caused the carelessness. Fire from God had corrected it in seconds. This drops daily. You watching tomorrow depends on whether you subscribe today. Don't miss the next one.